A major WWE star is frustrated with part-time talent. Plus, the backstage reaction to CM Punk referencing Vince McMahon has been revealed. And are we getting another WrestleMania 40 surprise? It's all in the Cultaholic wrestling news right now. The man has been around this week promoting her brand new book. Becky Lynch has done pretty much the entire gauntlet of media. Like she was on, she had an interview with The Mirror. She's been on Ariel Helwani, which you'll hear in just a second. Loads of local papers. She did Last Meals, which was Good Mythical Morning spin-off.
Yeah, I can't remember. Is it Joshua Wiseman or something like that? He's a very good cook.
He's very good cook. But he didn't have to cook too much because one of the things that she wanted was a pack of Monster Munch.
What a wonderful packet of Monster Munch he made.
And where was Ross when I heard her go, Irish chocolate? But one of the interviews that have got people talking is the MMA Hour, and something that she talked about when it comes to her WWE contract.
Yeah, so she revealed that she's in the final 2 months of a WWE deal, and when she was asked if it was normal to not have a new deal in place, Becky actually said that it wasn't, but she wasn't concerned about it, saying, at this stage in the game, contrary to a lot of the thoughts in my book, I'm so confident in my ability and my worth.
I can't see Becky Lynch going elsewhere. We
neither.
live to be wrong on these things, but it is strange that they haven't secured her in any way.
I mean, it could definitely be sort of leveraging for more money. She was recently speaking about Mercedes Moné's AEW deal and how much money she's making, and she's like, you know what? She absolutely deserves it. And we, as women in the industry, deserve to be as paid as much as the men, and I think that's fair enough too. You go and get it, girl, because you bloody well deserve it.
Bag.
Yeah.
She's very open in a lot of the interviews that she did. She was speaking to The Mirror about a frustration that she has in the locker room when it comes to part-time wrestlers. She was really keen to point out that when the stuff that she talks about here, The Rock and Roman Reigns are exceptions to the rule because they've kind of done the wrestling thing for a little while now. They're kind of the exceptions. But she says when it comes to part-time wrestlers, it's easy to be special when you only show up every 4 weeks or however often, and then creative is specifically designed to make you feel important. Whereas when you are on TV every week, you're on every live event, you're doing the work to make these people seem important, and you're just doing the grunt work to allow them to come in and say, hello, let me wave majestically at everybody. It used to be a thing that wrestling fans would scoff at, but now it seems they're starting to revere it more. Like, oh yay, this person's come around and graced us with their presence. So that becomes frustrating. Now, in the past, the champion would make their rounds through the territory, showing off the title and being front and center. But now that model is changing, and I don't know if it's for the better. You learn by being in front of the crowd, by constantly getting better that way. And when you are in there with somebody who has learned by being in front of a crowd, you get better. So it moves the business forward. She then says, obviously, Rock and Roman Reigns are exceptions to this rule. He says, but if we start relying on these celebrities and these part-timers, the people that don't actually know how to do this and that don't understand the craft, we are in trouble. We need leaders. We need people who care about this, who think about stories, who think about their character, who want to drive it forward. It's great to have an eye grab of celebrities. Let them bring eyes to the product, but we can't rely on it. And there's some truth to that. A lot of people will hear that and they'll say things like, oh, Logan Paul in the mud. But I think Logan Paul is another exception,
I feel like he is as well, just how fast he's grown. And he just seems like such a natural in the ring too. Like, it almost doesn't feel like, at least to me, a celebrity performer, because he just meshes so well with everybody as it is already. He kind of feels like a natural in there.
The only thing that might make him more applicable to what Becky Lynch is saying is, of course, Logan's not the one on the house show, Lou. He's not doing like all of that. He's coming on and appearing on SmackDown. So there is that, and what she says is true in that a lot of the wrinkles that you develop in your wrestling skill set do come from working on the road a lot.
Yeah, doing the rounds.
In those early days, and you've sort of bypassed past that, then you don't get that firm grounding. But interesting points by Becky Lynch, who is her book. I'm excited to read. I feel like it's going to be full of very intriguing stories.
Yeah.
And at least one picture of her and Seth, almost revealing everything.
Oh yes.
That's the one bit I've seen of the book so far.
That's the only part I've seen as well, because it's doing the rounds on social media, not because we seeked that out specifically.
Yes.
By the way,
and seek out Cody Rhodes' reaction to it when he was showing that picture on Up Down Down.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
Oh,
this is eyes bugging out of his head. Good lad. On Raw, our eyes were popping out when we watched the highest rated segment of the week, which was the three-way bitter bants between Seth Rollins, CM Punk, and Drew McIntyre. We've got a little bit more to tell you about that.
Yeah, we do. So PW Insider shared some more backstage details on the promo, saying the entire segment was very much improvised and off the cuff, PWInsiderElite.com was told. There was a general idea of where they would finish up, getting over the idea of CM Punk as the guest color commentator for the World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania, but beyond that, it was very much left up to the talents to play off of each other. There was a hush backstage when CM Punk made allusions to Vince McMahon making Drew McIntyre the chosen one, but once they got past that moment, there was no fallout for the reference, I believe, because Punk diverted away from it very quickly onto something else. It was seen as, that's okay, we're all right, we got past that.
I thought he was I was ready for him to say something, because he was like, which paragon of good virtue called you the chosen one? And then the conspiracy theorist in me watched the YouTube clip before I watched the live clip, and watched the YouTube clip and went, did they cut something out there? Have they cut something? The crowd audio slightly changes. Have they cut something? I went, no, they didn't.
No, it all went smoothly. He diverted very quickly away from that. The segment, however, went way longer than initially expected, but there was no heat on anyone because of it, since it was such a great, well-received moment. Now, part of that was due to the fans chanting for Punk to be the special referee, which I spoke about on the prior 2 days news videos. Tremendous when he got on the floor and did the count with his left arm instead. It was amazing. Everybody played off that and added into the segment, which took a little bit of time up. So the next several segments had some time cut to make up for some of that time. Fightful Select there say the Ivy Nile and Candice LeRae match was originally listed for one segment, and it ended up going less than 2.5 minutes.
That's because that bit massively overran.
Yes.
And I think that it's one of those things where we've seen the last few weeks this move back towards a more organic style of presentation for Raw. I am all for it. I get that there is sometimes an importance in scripting and prepping in that way, because if you're telling a certain story, you want to make sure that certain points are hit. But we have also a generation of wrestlers who aren't used to just going out there like your Austins and your Rocks and your Cenas did and just winging it. The case in point where we learned that, remember WrestleMania 38, the post-pandemic one?
Yeah.
And there was the bit where Rain called off WrestleMania for half an hour.
Oh, that was 37?
37, maybe?
38 was Austin, Kevin Owens.
Right, so 37, my apologies. So it was, so Rain was called off for half an hour, so therefore you had wrestlers putting together promos to buy some time backstage, and you had Kevin Owens, who was just bang there, like he's so used to that organic way of doing it. And you had Braun Strowman, who's great, but because he's so used to coming through the world of like, here is your promo, he was a bit deer in headlights when he did his. So you're good if you want to go back into this style of presentation, you've got to give the benefit of the doubt to the fact that there's an entire generation of wrestlers who've come through and been told, here's a script. It's like telling an actor like Leonardo DiCaprio to go, right, you're in a new film, just wing it. But all he's ever done is act off scripts, and it's learning a new skill set and doing it that way.
And it works so well. Ross was saying earlier in the week as well, it works so well with everything that's sort of happening, with the Bloodline and Cody stuff. Now it's getting very intense with what we saw at the end of Raw. In a feud like this where you blur the lines between real heat and heat that has been scripted or whatever like that, it adds so much to just the ferocity and the intensity of something like this that really builds the excitement of what are we going to get? What are we going to get? Is it going to be a shoot? Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that? Like, it's very, very exciting.
It's WrestleMania build in general is very exciting, and one person who has been closely linked to WrestleMania this week in particular is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yes.
What do we know?
So PW Insider gives an update on Austin's WrestleMania 40 status, saying WWE sources confirmed that the company made an overture for Steve Austin to be involved over WrestleMania 40 weekend. There was no word on the role or whether it would be something beyond appearing at WrestleMania itself, but we can confirm there were at least some discussions.
So he's going to stunner Roman Reigns in the main event, stunner The Rock.
Yep.
At the main event of WrestleMania 40 during a massive schmoz that features all the biggest stars of all time.
Good enough for me. That is good enough for me. So.
Yeah, and the Steve Austin conversation. It was in The Observer on Friday where they mentioned that there was a possibility that Steve Austin, if time and money was right, they would be a part of WrestleMania.
Yep.
Then Austin's face appeared on the truck whilst The Rock was beating Cody like a dog on Raw on Monday in one of the greatest segments in Raw I've seen in a long time.
I agreed, yeah.
Oh, look at your son! Look at your son!
So good.
Pride is not a word I'm looking for. He didn't sing Hamilton.
He
sadly.
didn't, actually.
It would have been a shame. So Austin's very much heavily in the mix, as is another Hall of Famer. PW Insider have revealed there's also been talk over the last week that WWE is working on having Hulk Hogan involved in some fashion at WrestleMania 40 week. No word yet on what that role might be, brother, or in what capacity, brother. Now, he was part of Rumble build.
Yep.
They had a nice video with him going, hey, you never know. To the point where we went, are they putting Hogan in the Rumble? So I'm not massively shocked because it's the anniversary of WrestleMania. Hogan's very much in the good books at the moment.
Yeah.
So, he's one of the main event. Is he one of the last remaining alive members of the WrestleMania 1 main event? Mr. T still with us.
Yeah.
Bob Orton's still with us. Mm-hmm. We no longer have Piper. We no longer have Muhammad Ali. We no longer have Orndorff. Mm-hmm. So I think, he was in the first WrestleMania main event.
They're billing it as if not the biggest WrestleMania so far, I believe. And I mean, Hogan is one of the people who helped pioneer WrestleMania.
I think he'll pop up again.
Yeah.
I think he will. Just don't put him next to Titus O'Neil because everybody will boo him and cheer Titus, as we learned at WrestleMania 37. Hey, if you ever want the news first thing in the morning, and you maybe you're doing something where you can't use your eyes, maybe you're driving, maybe you're running, right? Maybe you're in the shower like Steven Souza is, trying to keep it down so he doesn't disturb his family. Yet I could turn up and shout and wake everybody up. Hi, Steven. If that's you, the Cultaholic Wrestling News Podcast is just for you. We give you the wrestling headlines in 10-minute bursts every single morning. Search Cultaholic Wrestling News on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Have you been watching Gladiators?
I have not been watching Gladiators.
You've been missing out because the finals are on Saturday.
Yeah.
One of the finalists on Saturday is a lovely lad by the name of Wesley.
Wesley,
not Wesley, sadly.
Okay.
And they've been lauding up the fact that Wesley is a professional wrestler, the only wrestler in Gladiators.
Oh.
So I had a chat with him.
Nice.
So we catch up with Wesley and Serico, the finalists for Gladiators on Saturday. You're going to hear that on the podcast feed tomorrow. Lovely lad is Wesley.
Yeah?
Yeah, really. Just the fact that a wrestler made it to the finals of Gladiators. Come on.
Why would they not? They're a wrestler.
He drops in loads of wrestling references as well throughout, and so we'll talk about all of them as well. That's on the podcast feed. Anything you want to plug?
Yes, go and watch Tom's video on why WrestleMania 40's biggest tag team match ever is all the fault of one Jack Perry.
It is all his fault.
It is.
Andrew did a lovely edit on that one, and it's waiting for you. And it is all Jack Perry's fault, whether you believe me or not now. You will believe us after you've watched it. You'll believe both of us. And for the latest wrestling news throughout the day, you can check out cultaholic.com. Keys.
Love you, bye.